It'll fix itself in a second. Hang on. All right, so this, I'm just calling this the 2.6 WebAssign Practice. I just want to go over a couple things. Again, you have a quiz next week where we're going to talk about average rate of change. We're going to talk about odd, even, neither algebraically. We're going to talk about shifting graphs and stuff. That's what we're going over today. And then we're going to talk about the 2.7 stuff from what we're going to do later this week and next. So the first thing we're going to do is, I'm going to number this number 1. We're going to go through it 1, 2, 3, 4. If you guys are trying to determine if something is odd, even, or neither algebraically, all right, if it's going to be even, what do you know the answers are going to be? When I work this out, if it's an even function, you know the answers are going to be what? The same. Good. If you think it's an odd function, or if it works out to be an odd function, and you algebraically work the problem out, your answers that you get at the end should be what? Opposites. Good. All right, that's something that you need to know. Now, a lot of people send me emails. I don't know how to, excuse me, I don't know how to show my work for all this stuff. I've showed you guys how I want your work shown. If you do not do it the way that I do it, if you do it the way that PhotoMath or MathWay does it, you're not going to get credit, guys. You need to do your work your own way. So when I do number 1, I'm going to put number 1 right here, and I'm going to write out my function, x squared plus x plus 1. Okay, now I'm going to set this up. And then I look at my highest exponent. What is the highest exponent in this problem? 2. So this function can be one of two things. It can be what or what?
Even or neither.
It can be even or neither. Those are the only two options. So now we're going to go through here, and I'm going to say, if it's even, what are the answers going to be at the end if it's an even function? They're going to be what? When I work this out, guys, we just wrote it at the top. Look at the top of the screen. If it's an even function, they're going to be what? The answer should be the same. So I don't care what number you use, just as long as you use something bigger than 1 and you use that number and its opposite. So I'm going to use 2 and negative 2. If you want to use 3 and negative 3, use 3 and negative 3. 4 and negative 4, it doesn't matter. So I'm going to use positive 2 and negative 2. So I'm going to plug in negative 2 squared plus negative 2 plus 1. Negative 2 squared is what? 4. So I have 4 minus 2 plus 1. 4 minus 2 is 2, and 2 plus 1 gives me 3. Now I'm going to evaluate the same function with the positive 2. So 2 squared plus 2 plus 1. 2 squared is 4, plus 2 plus 1. 4 plus 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. That's you showing your work. Are those two answers the same? Is 3 the same as 7? Yes or no? People at home, 3 the same as 7?
No.
No. So my answer here is neither.
Neither.
That is how you would show me your work. You don't do it like that, you're not getting credit. You just tell me, oh, it's even, neither, and you don't tell me anything, you don't show me steps, that sort of thing, then no, you're not getting credit. Yep. You want something bigger than 1. It has to be bigger than 1. Okay, so for number 2, we're going to set up the same way. Look, I want it set up the exact way that I'm showing you guys how to do it. What are the possibilities for this function? What are the two possibilities? It can be what or what? What's the highest exponent you see? 4. That's an even number. So this can either be even or what? Neither. So let's plug in negative 3 and positive 3 this time. You want to keep it at 2, negative 2? Do that. I'm just changing it up a little bit. So I have negative 3 to the 4th power minus 3. If I think this is even, what should my answers be at the end? The same, right? Okay. So negative 3 to the 4th power is 81, and 81 minus 3 is 78. So now over here, I'm going to plug in positive 3 to the 4th power minus 3. 81 minus 3 is 78. Are those two numbers the same? Yes. So my function here is even. Questions at home? Questions at home, anybody? Okay. Yep. Nico, do you have a question? Or Nicholas, do you have a question or no?
No, I just
You said no? Okay, no problem. Thanks. All right, so now if I look here for number 3, what's the highest exponent you see? 9. What kind of a number is 9? Odd or even? It's odd, so this can either be odd or neither. If it's an odd function, what do I know the answers are going to be at the end? Opposites of each other. So I'm going to say x to the 9th plus x to the 7th. All right, x to the 9th power, it's going to be a huge number, so I'm just going to use -2 and +2. I'm not going to give you guys anything so big that you need a calculator. But if I raise x to the 9th, -2 to the 9th power, what do I get? Anybody? -512? All right, plus, and then I have -2 to the 7th power. So I get -128. And when I combine those, 512 and 128, I get -640. So now over here, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use +2. So 2 to the 9th plus 2 to the 7th. Well, 2 to the 9th we just said was 512, plus 2 to the 7th was 128. When I add those together, I get +640. What do you guys notice about -640 and +640? They're opposites of each other, so that means this function is odd. Questions? Okay, the last one is not tricky. It can trick you up a little bit, but it's not meant to. It's not supposed to be. You just have a different kind of a function. It's x to the 7th plus the cube root of x plus 1. All right, the highest exponent that I see is a 7. That's an odd number, so it's either going to be odd or neither. Again, you can pick any number you want. I'll use -2 and +2. So you have -2 to the 7th power plus 3 cube root of -2 plus 1. We just did this. 2 to the 7th power is 128, right? So this is -128 plus the cube root of -2 plus 1. If I think this is an odd function, the answers will be opposite of each other. I can combine right here, guys. What's -128 and plus 1? -127 plus the cube root of -2. Now over here, I'm going to do the same thing with +2. So I have 2 to the 7th plus the cube root of 2 plus 1. 2 to the 7th is 128 plus the cube root of 2 plus 1. What's 128 and 1? 129 plus the cube root of 2. Are these two answers exact opposites of each other? Yes or no? No. So my answer here would be what? Neither. This is what I expect to see when you answer this question or questions on your quiz about it being odd, even, or neither. If you do not do it this way, guys, I am not giving you credit. I don't care if the answer is right or not. Does everyone understand? Everybody at home, you understand? Because you guys, that's who I'm talking to, people at home. All right, now let's go through a couple of these. I had lots of questions. You guys emailing me, I don't know how to show my work. I told you. I told you how I wanted the work shown. If you have a question like this, you should draw arrows to each thing, each transformation that's happening. Because on your quiz, I'm going to give you probably 3 or 4 of these, and it says, tell me the transformations. So you should be able to look and say, okay, this does something, and this does something. What does the pink +7 inside the absolute value do?
Left 7.
Left 7. What does the -7 at the end do?
Down 7.
Down 7. That's all the work I asked you guys to show. That's it. But that's showing your work. You don't do that, you're not getting credit. Now it's really easy to pick the answer choice. Which one tells you that it shifts left 7 and down 7? This middle one here, right? So there's your answer. But that is your work that I expect to see. Same thing here on this one. There's two things going on. What is that minus 7 inside? And what is the plus 7 at the end? What's that minus 7 inside mean? What does that minus 7 inside the absolute value bars mean?
Right 7.
Right 7, good. And then what does that plus 7 at the end mean? Up 7, good. Right 7, up 7, that's my answer right there. But you'll have a bunch of questions like that on the quiz. They're going to be a little harder, a little more involved with what's going on in the equations themselves. But that's all I need from you is to tell me the direction, left, right, up, or down, and how many. And then for the shrinks and stretches, I need you to tell me if they're horizontal or vertical. And then reflections, I need to know whether it's over the x or the y. What I mean by that, okay? If I have this, this is what it'll look like. Tell me all the transformations. I expect to see something here and something here. What does the minus 6 inside the parentheses mean?
To the right, 6.
Right 6. What does the plus 5 at the end mean?
Up 5.
Up 5. Some of you will want to write me a paragraph that says, the function has translated 6 units to the right and 5 units up. That's fine, but all I need to see is literally arrows pointing and just telling me little descriptions. Look at this one. This one's a little tricky. They're trying to trick you on this one. Anybody know what this 2 is?
That's up 2.
It's what?
Up
It's,
2.
it is up 2. Last period, people were like that. No, it's out in front. That means that, guys, it's not stuck to the function multiplying. It's 2 minus. You can rewrite this as y equals negative 1/9 x minus 3 squared, and then put the plus 2 at the end here. If you have something added or subtracted in the front, all that is a vertical shift, up or down. Just move it to the back. So now as we read left to right, I get to this negative sign. What does that negative sign way out in front mean?
Over reflection over x.
Reflect over x. Good. Reflect over x. I need to know that it's a reflection and over what axis. Then I come to 1/9. What does that 1/9 mean?
Shrink.
What kind?
By 1/9.
What is it, vertical or horizontal?
Oh, vertical. Sorry.
Vertical. If you guys just tell me shrink, I'm just going to give you half credit. I need to know if it's vertical or horizontal. You can use the word compression too. Some people were taught compression, and that's fine. What does this minus 3 mean inside the parenthesis? Going to go right 3. Good. And then, ladies and gents, what does this little 2 here at the end mean? Up 2. Very good. Questions? This is how you show your work, guys. I just showed you exactly how to show your work. All right, what about this one? Read from left to right. What does that 1/3 mean? It's a vertical shrink. What's another word for shrink? Compression. Good. All right, I have plus 2. It's underneath the square root. It's with the x. What does that plus 2 mean? Left 2. Good. Good, good, good. And then what does this minus 5 do at the very end? Down 5. Did I say 2? I meant 5. But that's it. That's all I need for you guys to show me. That's it. Questions? Comments? Concerns? Anything? We're all right? All right. This is from your 2.4, talking about average rate of change and net change. All right. This is important that you guys understand this. I had questions on this from A period. I'm sure you guys have questions on it as well. You probably will see something like this on your quiz. Guys, this is just an average rate of change question or a net change question. So let's remind ourselves what that means. If we talk about average rate of change, that's just our slope formula. Remember, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. If they want to know the net change, all that is y2 minus y1. It's just the y's. That's it. So if you look at these first three questions, A, B, and C, they're all asking for the average rate of change. This is your X column. This is your Y column. So if they want to know the average rate of change between 2003 and 2013, they're giving you two ordered pairs, 2013. What was the Y value? How many DVDs were sold in 2003? 495. How many were sold in 213? How much? 645. So if I was going to do the average rate of change here, this is my X, this is my Y, your average rate of change would be 645 minus 495. And then what would go first on the bottom? 2013. Good. You got to keep your X's and your Y's together. So this would work out 645. What's 645 minus 495? 150 over 2013 minus 2003 is what? 10, right? So I can simplify this more. Agreed? So your average rate of change is 15 over 1. All it is just the slope formula. So for letter A, your average rate of change would have been 15 DVD players per 1 year. So between 2003 and 2004, okay, they're giving me two more ordered pairs. I have 2003 and 2004. How many were sold in 2003? 495. And how many were sold in 2004? 518. So my average rate of change would be 518 minus 495 over 2004 minus 2003. What's 518 minus 495? Guys? It's 23 over 1. So this average rate of change would be 23 over 1. If I want to know the average rate of change between 2004 and 2005, all right, I have 2004 was 518 and 410. So 518 and 410. So I have 410 minus 518 over 2005 minus 2004. What's 410 minus 518? Negative 108 over 1. So this would be negative 108 over 1. What does that tell you? If my first two average rate of change were positive and then my third one was negative, what does that tell you? Between the first set of years in A and the first set of years in B, what did the average sales do? Increase or decrease? They increased. How do you know it increased? What kind of a number is 15? What kind of number is 23? Positive. How do you know in C that it was a decrease? Because it's negative. Now these next two questions, they say between which two successive, what does the word successive mean? In a row, good. Between which two successive years was the sales increase most quickly and decrease most quickly? Well, how would you figure this out? First of all, this is a net change question. They're not asking for the average rate of change. They're just asking between which 2 years. If they're successive, that means the denominator would be 1. What you would need to do to solve this problem is simply go through. Watch, we'll do this together. What is the change between 495 and what's the change between 495 and 518? Take the year above and subtract it from the year below. So 518 minus 495 plus 23. You guys agree with me? From here to here, it was plus 23. So from 518 to 410, take 410 minus 518. And I get negative 108. So now I go from 402 minus 410 would be negative 8. From 520 to 402, subtract 520 minus 402 gives me 18 plus 118. From 520 to 580, well, 80 minus 20 is b plus 60. From 631 minus 580, it went up 51. 719 minus 631, it went up 88. 624 minus 719 went down 95. 582 minus 624, it went down 42. And then 645 minus 582, it went up 63. So when they ask you between what two successive years was the increase the highest, where is the positive number the biggest? What value? What's the biggest value you see? 118. So right here, between 2006 and 2007 was when your increase was the highest. The next question asks, well, when was the decrease the highest? Well, where is the highest negative number you see? Between 2004 and 2005. Math-wise, that question's not real hard, but you guys have to think a little bit on that one. But does that make sense after I just went through all that? Yes?
Yeah, can we do A really quick? So
A here?
yeah, A in that same question.
Okay, so the average rate of change between 2003 and 2013. So what I did was I took 2003 and found the Y value of 495 from the chart, 2013, and then found the Y value of 645 from the chart, and then just did our average rate of change formula, which is the same as the slope. So 645 minus 495 gave me 150, and then 2013 minus 2003 gave me 10, and then when you simplified, it was 15 over 1.